Hello, bonjour. You have reached the office of the Premier of Ontario. Vous avez rejoint le cabinet du Premier ministre de l'Ontario. For service in English, please stay on the line. Pour obtenir des renseignements en français, appuyez sur le 2. Please hold while we transfer you to a customer service representative. Please note that your call may be monitored or recorded for quality assurance and training purposes.
Good afternoon, Cheryl speaking.
Hi, Cheryl. How you doing?
I'm well, thank you. And yourself?
Well, I got a cold, but that's beside the point. Anyways, you can't fix that, right?
No, sir, I can't.
No, I can't call the office of the Premier and get my cold fixed.
If you could, that'd be a good thing.
It'd be a hell of a service.
I'm telling you.
You want popularity to go way up? Anyways, Cheryl, I've talked to you several times before. It's Ron Stevens calling. And I'm just calling on behalf of what's going on over in rural Ontario
Yes,
as far as the raw milk thing goes.
Yes, with Mr. Schmidt.
And yeah, well, it's not really Mr. Schmidt, it's Michael. But yeah, it's I don't even know how you describe this, ludicrous. Now I know this has been going a long time, and you know, I just want to put this, you know, I went to the 2010 court case in Newmarket, Ontario.
Yes.
And I hadn't known Michael that long at the time, and didn't, you know, I didn't fully understand the background of the situation. But I went to the court case, and when Michael came out of the courtroom, he was there on 19 charges, and when he came out of the courtroom, he'd been acquitted on all 19 charges. And those, my understanding what the justice said that day was that everyone has the right to enter into a private agreement without intrusion from the government. In other words, I can make an agreement with you to paint your house or whatever.
Yes.
And the government has no right to interfere with that agreement between two adult parties. And that was the finding of the justice that day. And you should have been there because they actually brought a whole pile of raw milk into the courthouse.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was rather amazed because I was new to that whole thing, and yeah, there was coolers full of cold raw milk and wine glasses and stuff, and when Michael was acquitted, this was right in the courthouse. Those coolers were popped open, and the raw milk was put into the glasses, and people clinked their glasses and celebrated the decision of the justice, which was the correct decision. And for some oddball reason, immediately thereafter, you know, I just want to relay this to you, Cheryl, because they had a reception after the verdict at a place across the street, and there was quite a few people there, and people were cheering like, you know, justice had been done finally. And you know, when I talked to Michael, I said, you know, these people think it's over. This is just beginning. And almost immediately thereafter, the government appealed. And then the next court found Michael guilty on 13 of the 19 charges that had already been dealt with in the lower court in Newmarket. So we have a real problem with the justice system. The justice was served in Newmarket, but vindictive actions were taken thereafter, and they continue to this day. None of these people have ever hurt anybody. None of these people are ever going to hurt anybody. They've done what they've done because they believe in the milk, and they make an agreement. And now I guess they've actually gone as far as to buy shares in the farm to stay on the right side of the so-called law. And that isn't even accepted by the government. And they continue their vindictive ways. So tonight, Michael Schmidt has to go to a jail after it's closed, which I find very disturbing. This meeting, this thing is at 7 o'clock at night, after the jail is closed. So, my only hope is that no harm comes to Michael, because there's been such a vindictive attitude by the government in this whole affair. It's freaking milk. It's milk. Well, I mean, the state did not create cows. Okay? The state didn't create cows. Cows have been around a long, long time, and if milk was as dangerous as the state would like people to believe it is, then there would be nobody there to fight for the cause of raw milk, because raw milk would have obviously killed everybody by now. And that didn't happen. So, this is more of a corporate situation going on that doesn't have anything to do with health. It has nothing to do with anything except telling people what they can and can't drink, or what they can and can't, what contracts they can enter into privately, and which ones the government will accept and which ones they won't.
Yeah.
So, I'm just voicing my opinion.
And I'm glad you are.
I've had many conversations with the Premier's office and yourself in the past, and I'm not a nasty guy. I just
and I appreciate that once again.
We have to get back to since I talked to you last time. I do a lot of research, and what I find disturbing is I've always fought every fight I've ever been in my life on moral grounds. And in the past, I've had lawyers say, well, they got you by this or they got you by that. And I said, doesn't make any sense. I said, it's morally wrong. And I've won all my fights on the grounds of morality. And it's not till recently, when I was doing research, that legal is actually defined as amoral. And I think that's the problem we're having, okay, is we have these amoral regulations, these legal regulations set down with no moral compass attached to them. Okay, because what these folks are doing is morally right for them.
Right.
And they're bothering no one else. But the legal system can't get there. They can't get to the moral part because it's based on amoral. So we have this moral-amoral fight going on.
Yes.
And it needs to come to a conclusion. Anyways, my dear, it's nice to see somebody's going to be the new prime minister or the old prime minister at the end of the day. And hopefully we can all work together to build the country for people.
Absolutely.
So
that's peaceful and envied by the rest, because
yes,
it's a great country.
I had a policeman sign my paperwork in 207 when I ran in the provincial election, and that officer said to me, he said, "You know why I'm signing this?" I said, "I don't know, and I don't really care. I have to get to the election office so I can get this paperwork in." And he said, "Well, I'm going to tell you why I'm doing this. I'm going to sign this because I believe you have it in you to make this a better place and in turn a better country." And that kind of threw me. But the fact is, we have to get back to run this land with a moral compass. And Canada does have the opportunity not only to be the envy of the rest of the world, but to show the proper way for the rest of the world.
Yeah, and to make a difference.
Yeah, and then the wars will stop, and the hunger will stop, and so on and so forth. So I don't really have much faith in who the Prime Minister is going to be, but you know, people are.
I hope you voted.
I can't, because actually it's illegal for a man or a woman to vote in this country, and that was laid out to me by the senior policy advisor for the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing when we went through all of this stuff, and they verified that you can't vote. Only the registered entity can vote, and the registered entity is a fictional entity. The legal entity is a fictional entity, and that was what get registered. And as I had a lady in Kingston tell me at one of the other election offices, she said, "Well, that's correct. It is a legal entity that's registered, and the man acts as the agent for the fictional entity, the state entity." And but then she said it's a different kind of person that actually marks the ballot. In fact, what it works out to is a corporate proxy vote. And because all of the elected officials are employees of the Queen, that's what you're doing. You're not actually, you, the man or woman, actually are not voting. You're voting as an agent on behalf of the corporate entity, of which the politicians are in their titled situation, who are employees of the Queen. So all you're doing is voting for employees of the Queen, and the Queen is at the apex of the political and legal systems, which is corporate. So we don't have any representation here, and we can't have, and that's the amoral part of it. And we need to get back to the man and woman actually voting for representation for the men and women of these lands is what we need to get back to. Then all of these problems will disappear overnight. But that's a long ways off. But we can work away at it,
Right.
We need change. And we didn't get here yesterday, and we're not going to get out of here tomorrow. So we just have to work away at it. So anyways, Cheryl, can I ask you one more last question?
Sure.
Before we go?
Sure.
Have you gotten any calls on this milk?
Oh, yeah, quite a number.
Oh, you have had some calls?
Yes.
Yeah, the only reason I called is I just wanted a heads up because I was kind of concerned about Michael going there after the jails close. That kind of gives me the willies a little bit. I just hope that he's safe, that's all.
Yeah.
Okay. You take care, my dear. And,
you too, and you take care of that cold.
Yes, I will. Okay, take care. Have a good day.
You too, thank you.
Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.